Hello, everybody. My name is Juan Carlos Brando. Thank you for having us today one more time with the attorney Margaret W. Wong, who is the immigration attorney that, well, she is working on the immigration field for over 43 years. And she has been helping a lot of people from many countries. Also, she has been working on this field for 45 years, helping thousands of families every single year. So, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them down and to ask your questions to Ms. Margaret W. Wong, the attorney in the city of Cleveland. And she has established offices in 9 cities of the United States: Atlanta, in Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, Memphis, Minneapolis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is just one phone number that you can get in touch with her: 216 279 3984. 216 279 3984. Good afternoon, Miss Wong. How are you doing today? Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I'm doing well.
Thank you so much, Miss Wong. And well, we have had a lot of interesting questions, and well, just a personal question: what will happen with all these people that are coming from Afghanistan? That those people that came on a plane. I know that there was a big plane that took over a couple thousand people, and they made it here. Some of them made it here, some of them in Europe. What is going to happen with them, and how will the government help all these people that are fleeing from the terrorism?
That's right. So in the olden days, like when Vietnam people we at war, and then the Laos, the Cambodians, they came on refugee status, and then slowly the Chileans, and then they come on parole status. So you have, if you come on or refugee status, then you are entitled to a lot of public charge. That means our government, help them with shelter, with food. But that's why slowly America doesn't want to pay for a lot of public charge. That's why we slowly allow people to come, even the Russians in the olden days. That's why a lot of people, they don't even want a green card because they get a lot of help from our government. So slowly they allow them to come on parole. Parole means that you're coming in for humanitarian purpose, but a lot of us are not allowed a lot of public charge. With the Afghanistanians, in fact, there's news now on what is American helping them with and giving them. I presume we're going to give them all medical care, food stamps to help them buy groceries, room and board to help them, and also a lot of churches are asking for host families. A lot of us are helping with fundraising. So, but we have to distinguish the people who came in from Afghanistan versus the people who came from a southern border. The people who are coming from southern border, either they came undocumented, that means they climb through the mountains, swim in the water, and it was never detected, so they have no entry, not inspected, admitted, or paroled. Or the people from South America, they come through Mexico. And then you probably saw on TV, there's a line and there's a custom people there. So they immediately file for asylum. So those people now with Trump and slowly also with Biden, you may be waiting in Mexico. So there are two types of people coming in through the borders. Now, the Afghanistan people that's flying in or coming through, they're not undocumented. They came because they had translated for the American military, or they had been personal assistants with certain media people. So they really came documented. So we need people to understand that. I don't want people to say, oh, you don't allow people coming through the southern border, but you're allowing all these thousands of Afghanistans coming. Is very, very different. The Afghanistans can only come as admitted or inspected or paroled. The southern border people really came only two ways: either going through mountains and it's very dangerous and river, or they go to the line that they may or may not have to remain in Mexico, or because of the virus, or because of the reunification of families, then they're allowed in. Some people are paroled from the southern borders, but the Afghanistans, they all come legally.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And this is a very interesting situation because a lot of people are interested in coming to the United States, and this issue that you mentioned about asking for maybe help or government benefits could be a little complicated. But this is a different scenario. And are you able to help someone in this situation, and uh, probably they can file for asylum?
Yes, a lot of them were already granted some sort of visa to allow them to get green card, and the other people, they should be able to file for asylum, but most of them already have like the path opened up, because otherwise they would not be able to go through the thousands of people, get to the airports and get into that aircraft. So most of these people, they're pretty upper middle class, my gut. They're not just regular people like you and I who are just working people. Because if they're nobodies, they would not be able to get through the line, get the special treatment, and more power to them.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions while we are live. The phone number that you can call for more information is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984, and Ms. Wong will be happy to answer your immigration questions. So the question comes from Hayendra Patel and is asking, my U visa file date is February 2020. How long does it take to get bonafide EAD?
Oh, the child is so cute. So the whole thing is, it's already 1 year and 6, 7 months. We have been getting some deferred action work permit in the past 1 or 2 weeks. So we don't know yet. I think it's luck. So make sure your lawyer filed the work permit for the 2 years, not just for the 4 years, because the 4 years are 19 and 20, the 2 years are 14 and 15. So if your lawyer did not file for you, or you don't have a receipt for 765 for this C14 and C15, file it and just wait. I think it'll come. It just takes some time because we have been getting a few, so it is coming.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And don't forget that the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. We have several questions coming through our WhatsApp number, which is 678 650 and you can send us a text message to that WhatsApp number. And she says thank you. So this next question is, I have a question. um, how can I find some minors under 18 that immigration detained yesterday? How can I find where they are in the immigration or detention centers?
Congratulations. So they have successfully arrived. For security purposes, the web of nobody shows, especially for minors, that you may not find out for another few days. Most minors, they were accepted in America on the southern border. They are placed in nursing, not nursing, it's for old people like me, but for they're foster families and foster homes. They're pretty comfortable. So maybe wait for a few more days, if not and they will call you. And don't worry if you have no papers, because they do not trace. Under Trump, they trace and sometimes arrest you when you go pick up the child. But under Biden, they don't trace you. So don't worry about giving your fingerprints, just maybe wait a little bit. Mostly for security purposes, even for adults, it takes them 24 to 48 hours to tell you where they are. This is such a search. Sometimes it takes a month for adults. But for children, normally a few days they'll call you. And normally it's up to the child to volunteer, because a lot of us, we are undocumented. So we'll tell the child, don't tell them. The parents would tell them, don't tell them I'm here because I don't want to be deported. So sometimes the child will look remain numb, because children cannot lie. So they'll say, oh, I don't want to tell you anything because I don't want my parents to be deported or my uncle to be deported. So if the child have your number, feel free to give it to the foster. If not, then we have to figure out. But maybe after 2 or 3 days, call the southern border again, they will tell you. But I don't blame them, because you're dealing with children's lives, and a lot of bad people out there who are looking at these gullible and vulnerable children. Who knows what they do with these children? So maybe for security purpose, wait a little bit. It's only 1 day, but congratulations, he's in or she's in. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And don't forget that if you need more information, the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. This is quite a long question, Ms. Wong. So let's see if we can do it. Hi, I came on a K-1 visa 13 years ago. I got married, but my husband was in the military. He became very violent, and he was going to Iraq. I called the police once, and he divorced me as soon as he could, but I never filed VAWA.
These are sorry.
Yes, no problem. So she got married again 2 years ago. He filed I-130 for her. They asked her for her documents, divorce decree, but they are asking her for the prior marriage certificate. Is it good with the license or the actual marriage certificate she entered on a visitor B2 visa?
That's interesting. I thought you entered on a K1. Now you said you entered on a B2.
No, she entered on a K1 visa.
Right. So, okay. If you're on a K, I wish you entered on a B2. On a K1 visa, you have to marry the same man, which you did. I don't know if he filed the 45, because you enter on a K1. If you're married within 90 days, you don't even need to file the I-130. You just file the 45 and get the work permit. If you had filed the 45, and I'm sorry you remarried and didn't talk to a lawyer, there were laws that came out in the past 8, 9 years, 10 years that said that as long as 45 was filed, and as long as a bona fide relationship, which I'm sure it is, because K1 is difficult. There's a big interview, especially for countries like Korea, Vietnam, China. Those are very difficult countries to come on K1. So if you had not remarried, that's why I feel bad for you, because K1 can only marry the same person and get the green card from the same person. If you married another man or woman, you cannot adjust in America. So this means that you have to leave the country and come back and adjust. And I don't even know if you want to do that. But the good news is you're married. So one thing is, even if you're married, maybe check the law, because if you had filed the 45 with the A64, you can actually use his old A64 and file another marriage case, but under the same guy, the original guy, not. And I don't know if you can, because I've not done a case like that. Most of my men or women have never married. I would not have remarried. I would have done this case a long time ago. You should also have filed VAWA, because you had a serious abuse case. So, but VAWA is not filed, and I don't think you can file VAWA now that you married a new case. I have to do some research for you. I also don't think you can file a new case under him. You married an old new guy. I have to do some research too, because I didn't have a case like that. So because people normally file, wait 13 years. And I don't know, from Philippines, most of my Filipino clients, they don't like to file. They're sort of ashamed by the whole thing. So for now, based on what you tell me, you cannot adjust in America. You may be able to do a 10-year cancellation, but I think that's silly. So once the I-130 is approved, give them whatever it is, give them a divorce certificate or whatever, he died or whatever, give it to them. They should approve the I-130, but they will not approve the adjustment of status. Then the I-130 should go to NVC. Then you have to leave the country and come back. Depends on what country you're from. You may not want to go, because some of these countries are really tough on K1 entry and going out, because then they need you to file another waiver. You're stuck there for 1.5 years. So this is not a complicated case, but I would not have remarried if I want to do this case.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Yeah, maybe sometimes people don't know that they can file for VAWA, and it's interesting that people just want to get married, Miss Wong.
After 13 years, 2 years before 11
Yeah,
years. Oh
yes.
my gosh, it's
Well,
okay.
yeah, it's always a good chance to restart. Okay, so we have the next question. This lady is asking, our daughters are minors, 8 years and 5 years. We lived for 8 years in Chicago, but we came back 7 months ago in our country. We're out of the United States now, and we want to go back because our kids don't speak other language beside English. It is so difficult here. Can you help so we can come back legally? And this person, um, I won't mention the name because she texted through the inbox, but her last name sounds like Russian, probably, or from Albania.
Okay, so it's from Eastern European. Normally, if it's from Russia or Eastern European, you came legally and you left. Probably you're tired of being undocumented. I don't know if you left pursuant to a voluntary departure or deportation. Of course, the easiest way is to stay overseas for more than 10 years. And when your children is 21, because you already left more than 10 years, because the child is only a few years old, they can directly sponsor you. But at that time, they'll need to work in America, at least have 1 year tax return. Because if they live with you overseas, then they cannot sponsor you. They can petition for you, but they cannot file the A64. Of course, that's the easiest way. But I presume you want to come back now. I will, because you just left. I would wait for maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years, depends on what country you're from. And also because you left, if you have voluntary departure or deportation or whatever, you may need a pardon. But if not, maybe wait for another few years, try to come back on a tourist visa. That's the only way, or student visa. On the form they ask, were you ever in America? You say yes. How long were you there? You're more than undocumented, more than 1 year. So you more than 360 days, so you have a 10-year bar. So if you come back after 10 years, you don't need the waiver, but it's very difficult if you have been here illegally to come back on tour as a student. But try it. I would not try it now. I would wait for another tour. It is difficult. But the question is, that's why I always tell people, America is not with the world. You would think, I can come, and why couldn't I go back and come back? That's why we need immigration reform. These are exactly the same thing where I'm just tired to be undocumented. I'm tired of Trump. I presume you left when Trump was here. I just want to go home when I'm still young and start. Now I realize, my gosh, my kids can stay here because the educational level normally overseas are higher. Like education level in China and Hong Kong, in Russia and Eastern European normally is higher than the American grade school or high school, and especially the math and the sciences. So it is difficult. So always remember why I came in the first place, why I have 2 kids, why I have papers or no papers of voluntary departure, why I want to go. And then later on to see if you read, because you don't want to come back and regret, and then you go back again or come back illegally and the problem. So try to think back to history. But if not, I would come back on a tourist visa or come back on a student visa if you already have degrees, and make yourself maybe a champion of something, very good in ping pong, in chess. And anytime you are extraordinary in certain ballet dancing or something, you can also do an O visa or even apply for tourist visa, like a church. If you're a very good minister or pastor or religious, then it's easier to come back. But you will come back. Watch me, because we all come back.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And yeah, please get in touch with Ms. Wong. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. The next question is really interesting, Ms. Wong. And it says, I have double citizenship, Venezuela and Italy. My daughter has a green card and she lives in the United States. Can I go to the United States and adjust my status there? I am so lonely here in Italy and I am 70 years old.
Oh, absolutely. If your daughter has a green card and if she got it through marriage, if she doesn't divorce, she can get citizen 2 years and 9 months and 1 day, even if her green card did not get approved for the 10 years. So absolutely you can come. I presume you have an ESTA visa because you live in Italy, you have Italian passport. As long as I shouldn't say that, but as long as immigration did not deport you, and they shouldn't, you're 70 years old, they normally don't deport old people. Also under Biden, there's a priority. You have a child here who has a green card, they won't deport you because ESTA, you cannot extend or change. As long as you stay here and no removal cases, because ESTA, immigration have no discretion, because of the virus, you're allowed another 30, 60 days, 10 days for extension, but that's it. But as long as you remain here, as long as your daughter become a citizen and she did not pass. Actually, I had a case where the mother was here on ESTA waiting for the daughter to become a citizen, and then the daughter died. So then now she's stuck because nobody can sponsor her. In the meantime, if she goes back, she cannot come back for 10 years. As long as your daughter is living, as long as your daughter becomes a citizen, absolutely you can do adjustment of status in America. Yes, you can do it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And don't forget that the attorney Margaret W. Wong has established offices in 9 cities of the United States. One of them is in Atlanta, Chicago, Columbus, Cleveland, Memphis, Minneapolis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is 216 279 3984. 216 279 3984. And if you have any questions, please get in touch with the attorney Margaret W. Wong, that she has been working on this field for the immigration relief that you really need. So this next question is okay. So hi, I only have a friend in the United States. I don't have any family or business or economic ties to the United States. I have a small business in South Africa. This person says currently the embassy is not issuing visitors visa due to COVID-19. Can you advise me any alternative way to apply for visa? I only have a job for now. It's not easy to get properties in South Africa.
Okay, so this is a very good question. This person knows what he or she is doing because he's asking for ties to America. That's what we call 214B, immigrant intent. It's always historical in America that to get a tourist visa or student visa, you should be rich. How to be rich? We have to have money in the bank. We have to have a high-paying job. We have to have properties, and that's why he's smart. He's saying that I only have a job, I don't have properties. What he's saying is that I don't have enough ties to Africa. The whole non-immigrant visa, the student visa, and the tourist visa. Right now, they're not giving tourist visa. As you said, a student visa, you have to have enough money to pay the tuition. So student visa right now is easier to get because as long as you money to pay tuition, American universities need money because right now a lot of students, especially from China, Hong Kong, they're not coming because of the virus, because of the 21-day shelter. So F1 is not difficult, number one. Number two is if you have university degree, like you said, you have no ties to America, so if you can get a job offer and it requires, so for example, you have a bachelor in computer science. If you get a job, your employer can start filing for the registry in February, and you don't even need a lawyer. By April, if your employer's name is picked for the lottery, registry lottery, then you can file for H-1B. Then you can come in October. Another way, so there are really three ways. You either come on a student visa when the embassy is open, you can come on a tourist visa, those are non-immigrant. If you get a job offer, you can also come on a non-immigrant age. Another way to do it is to get a job offer and do a perm, a EB3, and come to America with a green card. That you also need a job offer. But a lot of our clients now, they're going to Canada. In fact, the Chinese are going to Mexico because Mexico is not difficult to get a passport. Once they go to Mexico, get a Mexican passport, now they can come to America on a TN visa because Mexican have TN. Mexico have E visa. So you have got TN, you have e-visa. But when it gets a green card, they still use South African place of birth. But when it gets a non-immigrant visa, they use the Mexican one, which is a lot easier because There's only two contiguous countries with America. You have Canada, and that's another thing. If you don't want to go to Mexico to get a passport, go to Canada and get a passport. But Mexico is a lot cheaper to get a passport. So that's what people do. They go to Mexico, they go to Canada, get a passport, and figure out ways to come legally to America.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. It's an awesome situation. And thank you for the answer that you just gave us. So, if you need more information, maybe you can get in touch with Ms. Wong, sending an email to our office or calling to this phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Ms. Wong, I don't know if I understand this question, but I am sure you will. You have seen a lot of cases that I haven't seen. So thank you so much for sharing your experience and knowledge. My husband filed for me. I got my green card, but my children didn't get it. He married me when they were minors. Now they are 28 and 26. They have DACA. Can my husband file for them, or should I do it? When my husband filed, they were under 18, but they didn't get the green card. Apparently, she just got the green card 2 years ago. I just want to know if their I-130 was canceled or if it's still pending.
That's a very good question. I presume you are from Mexico because the lines for Mexico are very, very long. And I feel bad because because you get the green card because you're family 2A. Family 2A under Trump and under Biden, you were probably even under Obama in those days. It's pretty fast. It takes only 2 or 3 years. On the other hand, because then the child may have aged out, but if your husband really filed for them when they have DACA, you make sure that's not canceled. So if they were under 18 and now it's 26, 23, so they may be 245I. 245I means that something was filed for someone before April of 2001, but because they were DACA, it doesn't matter. If anything, try to get the DACA kids parole, because if they enter illegally or undocumented, if they got parole and leave and come back, is a better case. But another way to do it, if they had DACA before the age of 18, then they can even have an employer file for them, because then they don't even need a waiver. So number one, and you asked a good question. How do I check if I-130 was canceled? It's still pending. On your I-130 receipt notice, if you look at the left top corner, that's a WAC number, LIN, WAC, SRC. So get that number, go on the internet and check what's my status. So the USCIS will come up with that number. It may even not be approved because Mexico lines are very, very long. So check that. And if it's approved, it went to NVC. NVC should have given you a letter with the, if you're from Mexico, CEDAR Juarez number, CDJ, and that number, you just have to go to usdos.gov and type in the number, my account number, and then they'll show you what's the status. Number one. Number two is definitely you should file one, but as a green card holder, it doesn't matter, file it. Anything there's something filed, but definitely get the kids a parole. And if the kids have 245I, that'll be perfect. But in any event, if the kids, both of them get DACA before the age of 18, then have an employer file for the kids, a perm case, then the kids may or may not have to leave the country with or without a waiver, because the stepfather, because the relationship happened. It sounds complicated, but if you ask that good question, you will know what I'm talking about, because we understand each other. It's only the American people who don't understand us. All right. So if the visa is not canceled, wait, because it's a 25-year case. But if it's canceled, maybe write them a letter and change. But I would not even hesitate to have an employer file perm. And if it's less than 6 months they were out of status, you can adjust status here. If not, you don't even need a qualifying relative to leave and come back. And those cases are very good approval. If not, don't do anything. I think DACA kids will get green card. And
Yeah,
thanks for your question. It's a good question.
Yeah, so she's adding, Miss Wong, that her son has DACA, but her daughter literally expired 2 years ago.
Why? Is it because there's no money to extend, or she's not responsible, or she have a DUI, she has criminal record? If she has no criminal record, file now, even though there's case in Texas or California saying no, but they are still taking a new DACA. As long as she has no criminal record, file now.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Wong. Our time is up for today, so I like when the show goes really, really fast because we have a very interesting conversation. So, Miss Wong, thank you so much for having us today, for sharing all your knowledge to all the audience, and see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for everybody who has joined us today, don't forget that Miss Wong is on the website is imwong.com, imwong.com, and also the Facebook in Spanish and English is Margaret W. Wong and Associates. And you will find it in English, in Spanish, and she also has page, a Facebook page in Chinese. So you can find it and she will be happy to answer your questions. Also, the Instagram account is Margaret W. Wong and Associates. Also, YouTube, also Anchor, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. Well, a lot of outlets or platforms that you can find the information about the attorney Margaret W. Wong. So thank you so much. Don't forget that she has offices in 9 cities of the United States: Atlanta, Chicago, Columbus, Cleveland, Minneapolis, Memphis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is just one: 216 279 3984. 216 279 3984. Take care and see you next time.